Heading into this weekend, there were already 5 candidates for Attorney General. Now there is a 6th. The latest addition to the race is Staten Island DA Dan Donovan, who, as of right now, is the only Republican in the field. He joins us in the studio to talk about his decision to run. Mr. Donovan, how are you?
Very good, thank you for having me.
Thank you. I know you're very busy. You're dashing around the state, so I appreciate you making some time for us.
Thank you for having me.
So let's get right to it. In 2006, you were mentioned as a potential candidate. I think Alphonse D'Amato tried to draft you into the race, and you decided against it. Why have you decided this time to finally run?
Well, back in 2006, I had been in office, elected office, for 2 years. Hadn't done a lot of the things that I wanted to do, I intended to do as the district attorney of Staten Island, and needed more time to do that. Right after that, John Faso had asked me to consider being the lieutenant governor candidate on his ticket. And for the same reasons, I told John I was flattered, but I decided not to do it. I wasn't sure I wanted to do this. I have a good job. I have a great family. I live 10 minutes from my office. It's a huge pay cut for me to become an attorney general. I just couldn't watch what was happening to our state anymore, Liz. I couldn't look at the collusion, the corruption, the dysfunction. Our state government has become a national joke, and I thought if I had any talents to lead, any talents to bring some reform to Albany, I had to take my chances now, and that's why I decided to run now.
It's actually difficult from the Attorney General platform to prosecute corruption. I mean, that's one of the reasons why Manhattan DA Cy Vance is pushing for more power for DAs. Right. So why not just stay as a DA and prosecute local corruption or corruption for state legislators from there?
Well, you know, Cy does have this proposal for this piece of legislation to give DAs the power to do political and public corruption. As the president of the State DAs Association last year, I got to learn what limited resources many of my colleagues have. Many of my colleagues throughout the state, as the sitting DA, have to actually try their cases because they only have 1 assistant or 2 part-time assistants. If they were also charged with, and it's not that they don't want to, but if they were also responsible for doing all the public and political corruption, it would just drain their resources. The Attorney General's office is the ideal spot to have original jurisdiction on public corruption cases. The Attorney General's office has the resources to do so, and they can do a good job.
Well, what we're talking about here is actually criminal prosecutions when you have the jurisdiction, and it's actually a little tricky because you don't have subpoena power as the Attorney General right now. There's some efforts to change that, unless the governor or some other DA asks you to look into it.
It's a referral, yes.
So from the AG's office, there's been a lot of other things that have been a focus. Eliot Spitzer brought that office to a different level using the Martin Act to prosecute Wall Street corruption. Andrew Cuomo's gotten off after the student loan industry. Yes. Sean Coffey, this Democratic AG hopeful, hit you very hard actually yesterday with a strongly worded statement saying there's no need to have a super DA at this point. You're talking about criminal prosecution. What's your response to that?
Well, you know, I have a similar background to Eliot Spitzer when he became the AG. I don't know if Mr. Coffey's saying that Eliot wasn't qualified to take on Wall Street. Eliot and I were in the Manhattan DA's office at the same time. I was there for 8 years. He was there for 6, I believe. So I really don't know why Mr. Coffey would say something like that unless he believes that Eliot Spitzer didn't take on Wall Street aggressively. As the AG, you don't try cases. I haven't tried a case in 19 years. You lead an office. You set the policies for that office. You give that office its priorities, where you want to take that office, and you lead. So there's Eliot Spitzer, when he took on Wall Street, didn't try any of those cases. His staff did,
and
but he made that as a priority.
He actually didn't do so well either in those cases, because the history now shows that I think none of them ever came to any convictions, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
So, which has been a point of problem between Eliot Spitzer and Andrew Cuomo. But it's kind of ironic to actually bring up Eliot Spitzer, but do you believe that what he had done in the office in terms of bringing that to a national level, really? I mean, the guy was seen on Newsweek and other national magazines as sort of the sheriff of Wall Street. Do you believe you have sufficient experience to continue that sort of crusading outside of the criminal justice world?
I know I have experience. You know, we have a record of achievement. I took over an office that was failing when I became the DA. We kept the parts of the office that were working, and we improved or we changed the things that weren't. This is about leadership. This is about reform. This race is about people having confidence and belief in their leaders. And so I will take on Wall Street where it's necessary. You don't have to dismantle an industry, though, to root out corruption. Wall Street's been very good to New York State in employing people and paying taxes. It's probably our equivalent to California's entertainment industry. And so what you want to do in any corruption, it's not just Wall Street, anywhere, is root out the evil, root out the corruption without dismantling the rest of the industry so that people can remain working. Businesses will feel comfortable and enticed to come to New York. We've lost so much business in New York. If they think everybody that comes to New York is going to be the target of the Attorney General's race, the industry is going to be the target, no one will come here.
That's actually an argument that Mayor Bloomberg makes. I mean, the argument about Wall Street being an engine, and also Governor Patterson, but Mayor Bloomberg, quite vociferously, he stood with you yesterday when you kicked off your campaign in Lower Manhattan, and he said he would support you. He's going to be helping you raise money, correct? Yes. There's been some speculation that he would actually help you raise up to $700,000, which would put you in spitting distance of some of these Democratic people who have already been raising for quite some time. Fundraising was part of the reason that you were concerned about entering this race.
Right.
Do you believe now that you can raise enough money to be competitive? It's 1 week before the convention,
right.
Or rather, no, I'm sorry, 2 weeks.
The
Democrats are coming up, June 1st for the Republicans.
Right, that 1 week doesn't give me much more of an advantage.
No, not really.
What I've done is I've been very blessed. I've been very gotten the confidence of the mayor, and therefore have gotten the confidence of the people around the mayor. I've surrounded myself with people that know how to run political races, how to do elections. I know how to govern. And I leave it to them to figure out how to raise the money. I'm concentrating on trying to tell the people of the state of New York, because this is my first time coming around to many parts of the state, what I've achieved in Staten Island, what I can do as the Attorney General, and hopefully what skills I could bring to our state that will help our state get back on track.
You actually have about $42,000 as of January in your DA's campaign committee. Your state campaign committee actually has been inactive since '07 when you were traveling around, or not traveling around, but thinking about running. Do you believe that how much do you think you're going to have to raise, and can you raise sufficient amount to be competitive?
Yeah, I was told it could take anywhere between $5 and $10 million to run a race like this. It's a lot of money. And one of the problems with our political process is it's about money sometimes. In order to get your message out to the people, it takes money, unfortunately. And there's probably some good people who should run for public office who would never be able to do so because of the money. But I'm leaving that up to the people like Mayor Bloomberg and the other people we've hired, professional fundraisers, to do this for me, because I've never done anything on this big of a scale before. And they're confident that they could raise the amount of money that would take